Again, a very simple message, but more of a direction to correct a seeming other direction. It's not like we're going to add a direction on to the located direction where you feel you are. We're going to negate or question that, where you believe you are, and then leave you to find out where you are and what you are. Not through the mechanism of what you're not, because it's a failed mechanism. All it does, when it's looking for you as a conceptual, authentic, all and everything, it's just reinforcing itself. That's what it does, yeah? When it's using the light to look for something, there's a huge reflection of itself in it. So it doesn't go anywhere. That's my humble experience. So I went through whatever you go through, looking to get out of self as self. It was failing miserably, but usually the first reactions to failing was to blame myself, obviously, to think I should have meditated longer, or I should have signed up for the second retreat. I should have donated more, which I do suggest to most people. That does work a little bit. I should kiss the feet longer, you know, all these things. And so basically, that incriminating of self blinded me to the failure of the system. Yeah. And you should have gotten some hints when they said it may take lifetimes. Jesus Christ, you know. Yeah. We're living in an Amazon world. We want a delivery today. It's going to take lifetimes for you to arrive at where you already are. You know, it's insane to me. So the failure, which is what a failed system can show us, is failed. We were misreading it. It was constantly being used to reinforce the failure of Paul. Paul, again, was the primary influence. The primary influence in searching for nothing is Paul. See, that's the dilemma. When there's a loss of interest in Paul, which Paul can't do, the configuration of Paul can't lose the interest in the configuration of Paul. That's interest in the configuration of Paul. So self can't get out of self. Now that can be believed or not to. We're having a special guest in a few minutes. Ajashanti. Oh yeah, Muji. He has a break from a giant group. He's going to drop in. It's sort of like Buffalo, you know, Bruce Springsteen playing at a bar, not a big stadium. Come on in. It'll be good for you. Get in touch with the common folk. Yeah? The poor seekers. Yes, it's important. So there's a couple of dilemmas that we fall into that are masked by this self-centeredness of constantly looking at you as the fault for everything. Yes? Like if you did it more, then it would have worked. No, it won't in this situation. It may work in, you know, finding a pair of better pants.
This meeting is being recorded.
What? It may work on a lot of other things that have, well...
Jim chatted that it's frozen.
Oh, it's frozen?
Did that happen last week?
No. Is it frozen? Is it now? No, they can see me. I can hear you, yeah. Can you hear us?
Maybe it was him.
Can you hear us? Yeah? No, they can't hear me. Hold it, because I got it muted again. I got muted, all right? Sorry. See, this is how I've been feeling all these years. I feel I've been muted by the audiences. Muted. Everything that's said is turned into how they heard it, which is why we have to keep coming back day, week after week, because it's not how you hear it. Yeah, it's the hearing of it. Hey everybody, nice to see you, Z. I'm sorry that you thought the concert was today and it's tomorrow. Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
Two things for the...
All right, yes, and then, yeah. So, all right, well, we'll start over again. Paul, nice to see or not see everybody. I won't be able to see anyone who has questions, so maybe that's better. And we're speaking about this, the invitation that's offered here, which is, and a lot of people here have listened to a lot of invitations concerning non-duality. But what we're speaking of is sort of not speaking to Michael about non-duality, but hearing about non-duality concerning Michael, yes? So we're going to listen, we're going to talk to what I believe we are about what we're not. Now, the interpretation of this event is going to primer, at least in the time feeling of it, is going to be taken that you're at this meeting. So obviously, you're at this meeting, you came to hear this message, you're going to leave with the message, but that's not what's going on here. We're speaking to what never came or left, that you are, let's say, an activity in, yeah? And we're trying to bypass you and get to that. And it's very easy to get to that because it's everywhere. Yeah, I can't miss it. Yeah, all I need to do is miss you or confuse your system, because your system plays like a mitt. It catches everything. As soon as it catches whatever it is, if let's say it's a baseball mitt, a football's thrown, as soon as it's caught, it's a baseball. Yeah? Baseball mitt. Soccer ball's thrown, it gets caught, it's a baseball. Yeah? Everything gets defined by the system that hears it. Yeah? So you may have a new idea, and very quickly it's the same old as all the other new ideas you've heard. You know, how many people in the world of spirituality or New Age stuff did you hear call you about an amazing thing? How many times? Thousands of times I've heard it. People call me, an amazing seminar, an amazing thing. I said, how many amazing things are there? Yeah, and yet there's always another amazing thing. When does the amazement really fucking disinterest you in being amazed anymore? That to me is an amazing message. That, to be free from the need to be amazed, is an incredible message. And I can't pull it off. That's the beauty of it. Because that which I'm not cannot arrive at where it already is. It cannot have the experience of what it already is, because it's that, yes? It can't get moved next to it and get close to it and build a community around it, because you're there, yeah? You can't, yeah? Now you can have a community, that's great, but the inescapable assumption of non-duality is being ourselves reality. If you don't agree with that, then that's something else. The underlying belly of non-duality's invitation is being ourselves reality. That's the explanation of everything that comes after, yeah? Is that. Being ourselves reality, and it's not wanting you as what you're not to start chanting, I am reality. No, because that would be the reinforcing of what you're not, yes? It's just a simple invitation, being ourselves reality. Don't have to agree, don't disagree, just let it hit, let it sit, yeah? And hopefully the message of it will sift through your little strainer, the mental, and something will arrive at where you already are. And there'll be a whack, a resonance, let's say. This is usually what brings people back to satsangs. It's not what they think. They think they got something. They didn't get anything. There was a resonance of that emptiness. See? Emptiness doesn't need to get anything. It's completely full in its own nature, which is empty. It's not something you add onto and make it more. It isn't. Yeah. So we are, like it or not, in an inherent constant state of being, to the point you can't observe it, because you're not that. You're an activity that comes a flash of a second later. Yeah. The conception of us came from time. It did not come out of timelessness. What we're not came from and is reinforced. Yeah. And it actually is allowed to appear through time. Yeah, time is its mother, time is its father. Yeah, what we are of is not of time. It's that stark. Yeah, now a lot of people want to try to combine those. I see it's pointless. Yeah, well, it's sort of like trying to put oil and water together. Yes, the oil's going to suck because it's going to be diluted. Let's say it's olive oil, and you're not going to swim well in the oil. Yeah, which you would in the water. You know what I mean? So why not just leave good enough alone? And just because there's nothing new in non-duality. The same invitation when it was first delivered, I don't know when, is the exact same model you're getting delivered now, hopefully. Yeah, there's nothing new in non-duality for 2021. There's not a new edition. It's not like what they do with cars and shit, where they just constantly keep changing the the backlights. It's like fucking insane. You're in a carousel now, you know? All these weird things. You just tell me when you're turning, basically. I don't need a fucking like naked woman doing the hula hoop. Yeah? They have nothing to do. They got the fucking 4 wheels, the chassis and engine, so they just make shit up. Like I saw a commercial now. What would you do if we hid something until you need it? And then they show the headlights. Give me a fucking... So they're hidden headlights. Wow. They're still headlights. It's like insane. So this message is unadorned and doesn't need to be added on to because it can't be subtracted from. It doesn't erode, yeah, nor does it grow in time. It may grow in our appearance of being entertained by it, but that's all in this imaginary event of dreaming, yeah? It just is, yeah? And there's no way you could be a nanosecond or a 1/30th of an inch away from it. You are the bearer of that here, yeah? Not you as Paul or Michael, but as what we are, what's looking, like St. Francis says. What's looking is what you're looking for. The you would be a who, and the what is what we are. So what is looking is what we are, and that's what you, the one you're not, is looking for. So basically, and it's stubborn, it wants to be there to see what it is, as a you that you're not. This is what you lose interest in. You lose interest in the you that's looking for what's looking. And then the emphasis is on the what's looking, and then you see the activities that imply a you that's looking for what's looking. You see it from what's looking. You don't see it from who's looking. Yeah, you see it from what's looking. Now, there may be a claiming, and now you become the seer of who's looking, but that's, again, the attribute of the mechanism of selfing. It just claims whatever becomes apparent now. So if the emptiness of you becomes apparent, in a second or two in time, that you formation is going to say, it's apparent to me. Yes? It's like when people say, I've been disappeared for 3 weeks. Who was there to recognize that? If you disappeared, there'd be no messages coming from Paul Central. He would have disappeared. Yeah? For people who call me up, I disappeared for a few weeks. Well, who's that? Who's telling me that? If you disappeared, that voice would have gone bye-bye. Yeah, you wouldn't be having a story about being disappeared. It's like a person coming to the police station saying, I disappeared for 8 weeks, and then they take their fingerprints. Hey, you're the one who disappeared. What the hell? You know what I mean? You can't get out of what you're not. You can't, because you're not in it. You can't get out of what you're not. You watch people when they try to get out of what they're not, as what they're not. It's fun. It's like a contortion of a yogic system that only has one posture, up the ass of self. Yeah, there is no one, but then who's saying that? There's no one who's saying no. Well, you know, it goes on and on. Or I don't see anyone. Well, who's that? Who's telling me they don't see anyone? If someone says, I don't see anyone, well, for that to be said, there had to be someone who didn't see anyone. So you know what I mean? You can't get out of it. The whole point is you're not in it. That's the point. Yeah? And all you need, like Zen, they would always say, you know, like a second of entertaining an opinion is like adding 10,000 years. You know, it's just that simple. Yeah? It's like, as soon as there's a belief you're in something, and then there's the drive to get out of it, you're really in something. When you see that activity, not from being in it, but before it, you see there's no need to get out. That's the out. The out has nothing to do with getting out. The out is a condition you were never in. You were never in what you thought you were in to want to get out of. And I'm not talking about a burning house and shit like that, or a terrible relationship. I'm talking about this whole freaking event. Yeah? So there's a jump into a faith in I'm in something, And then there's a drive to get out of it. And what happens? That which you want to get out of it gets more and more verified, being ourselves reality. We lend reality to that misassumption. So that which we're thinking we're wanting to get out of it, we give it the reality of being worthy of being in. Yeah? Yeah, you see it? This is the message. The message is, it's not saying stop looking for what you are. What you're not can't stop looking for what it is, let's say. It's looking at the mirror all day to see what it is. It wants to hear everything about it all day, to hear what it is. So it's a recognition you're not that wants to understand everything. It's not about stopping understanding everything. It's just seeing you're not that who wants it, yeah? And you're not that who doesn't want it. You're neither of them. There's no subject of the verbing. There's just verbing, yeah? So when someone says, I'm feeling crazy, all right, feeling crazy, but where's that I? Where did that come from? This feeling crazy comes and goes, yeah? But then there's a story, I'm feeling crazy, yeah? And now that I gets reinforced by whatever feeling is displayed in the head, yeah? There's always the I that feels all those different ways, yeah? So each feeling being claimed is used to imply the feeler, yeah? That's why there's so many thoughts probably, because to make something that's unimaginable seem to be real, there have to be a lot of effort. So basically, so many thoughts occur, and there's a noticing at least of a large, let's say thousands of them, and each one of them is being used to imply the thinker, yeah? There's no direct source to the thinker because there isn't one. You arrive at the thinker through the claiming of the thoughts, yeah? And yet, now when a thought isn't occurring, you still feel like you're a thinker, yeah? So the idea of a thinker is birthed from the claiming of thoughts, but then in time, you don't even need a thought to feel like you're a thinker. Yes? It takes its own life in a way. It's been blown up so many times, all of its holes don't leak quick enough to see the reality. Like the blow-up doll keeps a sense of form and function. Yeah? Because that's a momentum that's been built. Can you imagine every my that came before, every feeling, every thought, every action had an equation of momentum or force, yes? So everything that was ever claimed was put into this battery of my, and that force of my promotes this projection of you as the doer, the thinker, the feeler, the taster, the toucher, yes? Almost as if the energy gets sucked up, gets projected, and then you watch the story of Paul. Yeah? But what you're remembering, you're not remembering all the feelings, but you're remembering the feeler quite a lot, yes? The feelings don't even matter. You don't know how you felt in that vacation to Hawaii. There's just a big story you tell everyone when you get home, that you had a great time, because who doesn't fucking have a great time in Hawaii? So you had a great time, and what's remembered isn't Hawaii, it's you all day, yes? Because there's no one there, so it has to be remembered all day, yeah? This is the whole sense of self is a feeling that comes from the remembering of self, yeah? The remembering of being the doer, the feeler, the thinker, the haver, the loser, the one who got hurt, the one who got better, all this, yes? All of these. It's almost as it captures reflections of light, yeah, and then uses it to project this image. Yeah, it captures the reflections of what's actually happening, because everything has a shine energetically. Yeah, it's sucking that up, and then it projects this little story of Paul as the bearer of light or the doer of stuff. Yeah, it's insane. So this message isn't about going through that, because there's enough of that functioning. Once you enter that functioning, you're made part and parcel of that functioning. Whatever you put in there, if it's like a hamburger maker, throw in a zucchini if it's in the hamburger. It doesn't work. It's not. Zucchini's not going to withstand you being the hearer of the message. It's going to be fucking made into hamburger meat somehow, yes? So we're just questioning this. Questioning not the doing, but is there a doer? Just see, yeah? Yeah. There's thoughts, for sure, but is there a thinker? I've never seen it. I assume it's me, and I assume it's you. That's why I get pissed off. When you say something to me, I think you said it. Yeah. And I never listen to your voice, but I listen to this voice coming out of these vocal cords because they're called mine. These are just vocal cords, right? They make a sound. I sort of mimic it and hear it in my head. And if it was Chuck's, I would have turned it off at like 7:35 this morning. But Paul, it's like a serenade I've been familiar with for years and years. So you're awake for a second and you're just lulled to sleep again. Oh, what am I going to do? What did I do last night? Who do I need to call? No, it's just freaking slavery, really. The non-duality is much ado about nothing. Yeah, you and I are, like it or not, as in an activity, we're not in activity, we're empty. Yeah, that's what allows all activity to occur. Yeah, emptiness is not in conflict with activity. Some activities would with other activities, but emptiness is not in conflict with activity. It's the context that allows whatever fucking crazy shit's going on to go on. Yeah, because it doesn't have any dog in the hunt. It's just space, sky, whatever. We're of that, yeah? It doesn't take much to check it out. It doesn't. Take one sense and follow it back. Where does the sense lead you? When you feel something, the something is forgotten soon. It goes back this way. Find who's there or what's there. Do it on your own. Don't rely on others. Go home and sit and lay down and then hear a sound. Like, to me, I have this thing that goes on a lot. Maybe it's titness or whatever, but I have a lot of sounds going on, like an orchestra of generators, different hums, yeah, which I like. I've liked it since I was a kid, yeah, and it's always before all other sounds, yeah, like the heartbeats after it, you talking is way after it, yeah, and it seems located wherever I am, and that's usually pictured here as a body. I don't think it's of the body, but yeah. So I follow, sometimes I listen, let's say I listen to the chimes on my deck, then I listen to some birds, you know, then I listen to like the breathing, then I listen to the heartbeat, and it keeps going back, and then I run into this. This is always playing all the while I'm hearing the other sounds. This sound is like the background sound. Yeah. Then yet, when I take it as far as back as I can take it, not me, you know, but the attention, there's not a sound hearing that sound. Something else hears the buzzing. Yeah? It's not a finer buzzing. There's just a gulf of silence, let's say, which is the hearing of all the sounds. You know, it's right in your own experience. You can't miss it. Take any sense and go back. You're gonna bypass you. You're like a road stop, like a fucking diner that has terrible food. But you go there every day, 24 hours open, yeah. Joe's diner, Paul's diner, that's the one. So when you go past there pretty quick on the highway, and then you realize, as some masters have said, what's hearing can't be heard, yeah. What's feeling can't be felt. What's seeing can't be seen. What's tasting can't be tasted. What's touching can't be touched. Now you think that I'm touching and I can be touched. This is a fundamental misassumption that a great master, Wang Po, cuts off at the knees. He says whatever can be perceived can't be perceiving. Yet the story we're living in this, from this mental narration, is that which is perceived is what's perceiving. When there's touching, I believe this is what's touching. Yeah? When there's hearing, my head says this is what's hearing it. Yeah? Yet Hawaiian Po totally disrupts that, and that narrative has played a long fucking time. Yes, day in and day out, based on these assumptions, very rarely looked at, just assumed, yeah? And then you get into all these critical mass of fucking made up shit sometimes, and you're wondering, why? Well, it starts at these little blocks, yeah? There's an assumption that very rarely gets questioned, which will be questioned by non-duality. Non-duality will bring a lot of misunderstandings into stark contrast with the fact that being ourselves reality. Yeah, that's why looking for what's looking, yeah, is the blindness to what's looking, so to speak. Yeah. Because you're using what you are to find what you are. That doesn't work. It works to fail, but usually we don't get that message because we keep blaming ourselves with the self-centeredness to be the one, or the teacher that you heard the message from, or this or that. And then you're looking forward for the teacher to fuck up so you can validate, I knew it, but the message may have been beautiful. But see, you can't bear that you failed, but the whole point of the system was to show you failed, or actually to show that the system has failed. You've missed the invitation to realize you're not getting it. It's not a punishment, it's a fact. It's just that simple. You're not going to experience. No one experiences being. They're being. They experience everything from being. You would have to be something else to experience being. You'd have to be non-being, and you're not. So, what's the point? The point is, it's like the story we had, the first one we did, the video. Some people are new here today. Not new, they're old, but they haven't been around a while. And that was the lion sheep thing, basic parable about the young lion and the lioness get killed, and the young lion basically forgets that it's a lion and gets ingratiated with a sheep herd and lives as if it's a sheep. And it's got like vague feelings of irritability, restless, discontent, you know. It's either I want to go out on a date with that sheep or I want to eat that sheep, which makes it feel really fucking bad. One sheep wants to eat another sheep, you know. So it has a lot of fucking underlying problems. But it's doing the best it can as a sheep, yes. And then the old story is it's chewing cud with the sheep, which wasn't satisfying at all, but whatever, chewing cud. And an old lion comes into the savannah and sees the herd and wants to try to kill a sheep. Runs after the sheep and sees this lion running, and it thinks it's joining the hunt, but it realizes it's running with the sheep. So it turns off, grabs the young lion. The young lion gets rolled over on its back, you know, submissive, and goes, "Please, Mr. Lion." So it has a conceptual idea of the lion. It says, "Please, Mr. Lion, don't eat me." The old lion's really perplexed, grabs it, brings it over to the water hole, puts both their heads over. They see, the young lion sees its reflection, get him on. Yeah? It didn't matter if he thought it was a sheep for 80 years. It didn't matter if it was just for 30 minutes. It had nothing to do with time. It's a sudden, yeah? And then the old lion goes roar, it roars. It doesn't, hey, where can I sign up for roaring lessons? No, it roars. It's not going to acquire the nature that it is, yes? So all that was necessary was to see, by seeing the lion reflection, it realized it wasn't a sheep, yes? But what we're having now is, what happens when the old lion takes off and the young lion steps away from that water hole? The sheep programming is going to kick in and is going to claim that event as an experience the sheep had. And because of the habit of falling into that swoon, in about 5 steps, the young lion will have forgotten that resonance, and it will be remembered as an experience the sheep had. Now, maybe it itches it, and so now it starts trying to become a lion as a sheep, which is where we're at most of the time. We're trying to become lions as a sheep. And all that you need to do is just question the sheephood. Yeah, see if that's true or not. It's not to say that you're a lion. We're not even going to the water hole. We're just saying, just so you're not the sheep, I have great faith that you are a lion, so it's going to have to become fucking obvious sooner or later. Because once you get the glimpse and you hear about the warnings, when that sheep programming says it's already you, you'll see it from what you are. Because the main way it digs in is a magic trick of time. There is no you. It implies there has always been a you. So you never even see the process of becoming a you, because you never become a you. You believe you already are one. You never see yourself becoming something other than yourself. There's just an assumption that it happened. Yeah? So the way the I am gets hidden is, I was Paul, and then check it out. You got tons of memories to verify that. When you go to see your family, they may bring tons of pictures out to verify that. And who the hell would like to figure out that they've been worried about a complete stranger? So, oh yeah, it's gonna be Paul for sure. Why would I be sitting around flipped out about how Paul's gonna be 20 years from now? So there is a lot of I was Paul, and that's the selfing. The selfing is not an act of becoming a self. The selfing implies you already are one, and you better get out of it, really, or improve it, or fucking call it off, or pay the extortion, or tithe something to it, because it's the big enchilada in your life. Yeah? So, therefore, your options are minimal when you already are something. And the one most people take is to try to get out of it. I think most addiction is that. Yeah? At least in my case, my drug addiction past the point of having a, partying long before drug addiction ended. It was a job. I wanted to get out of how I felt, or how I thought I was going to feel, or how I thought I used to feel. I was a primary drive to get out of self, unbeknownst to me as self, which was just reinforcing the system I wanted to escape. Yeah, I saw the same thing in spiritual groups. They're using a different mechanism, practices, but it's just like a drug addict, really. And actually, the drug addict is smarter. At least you get a rush quick. Yeah, yeah. If I got paid, if I take a week retreat for $2,000, I'd rather have an ounce of coke. I'm going to have many more rushes than that week of retreat's going to be. I'm telling you, and probably prettier girls for me, who are apt to do almost anything for some of that coke. Not too many people are apt to do almost anything to be near my wonderful presence. So it's all this movement and momentum feeds itself, and it's driven on a misunderstanding. And the correction of that misunderstanding on a very, very concrete statement is being ourselves reality, as Ramana Maharshi put it. The greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality, being ourselves reality. See, if you heard the greatest mystery is reality wanting to attain reality, it'd be one of those cryptic fucking things. It's all explained by the next statement, being ourselves reality. That's why it's the greatest mystery. We are looking to attain reality, being ourselves reality. That's the kicker of the joke. If you don't see that, it ain't a joke. When you see that, you realize, wow, yeah. You see? It's beautiful. Now, if you don't believe that, I'm telling you, you're not that says it doesn't believe it. To tell you the truth. I do not. That thing that rushes and says, I have a problem with this, it ain't you. Yeah? It isn't, really, it isn't you. You can have that problem, but it's not of you, it isn't. Yeah. That's why these things are so disarming. Look at it. When we first used to give talks here, first of all, everyone almost passed out with the ammonia. We had tons of ammonia when they cleaned this place. The ammonia smell. No, this is just an invitation. You know what I mean? We're not signing you up for a newsletter. There's no news in Zen Mitzvah. Basically, there's meeting information. That's it. There's no news. Breaking news from Zen Bitch Central, Zen Bitch Slap Central. And then you hear, we'll get back to you when there's any news. There's no news. Yeah. There's no news that's worthy to be written about. There's so much shit comes and goes, do you know what I mean? Why would I want to resurrect something that happened an hour ago? Why? Did it work then? It's not going to work when I bring it back. So after a while, in this, this expression, I don't know how I'm feeling. People, they catch me by surprise when they go, "How you feeling, Paul?" Am I supposed to know? I don't know. Is that one of the commands from higher up? To know how I'm feeling every second? I don't know how I'm fucking feeling. I know if it's feeling really bad, yeah. If it's feeling really good, well, whatever. When it's feeling really bad, it's nice to know, but basically you're just walking around, in the business of living. Yeah. It can't be brought about through effort or thought, because thought and effort have nothing to do with what produces these effects. Nothing. There's not a large role for doing in being. Being is something that's infused with light, emitting it. Yeah. Doing would be trying to, jam some fucking ever-readies into that old flashlight to get it to light up. Yes, there's a difference. I don't see how thought and effort can be used to arrive at which shows no thought or effort. I just don't see it anymore, So I've sworn off of all that shit. Yeah, and whatever. I was so happy, I didn't know I was going to get run over by a car, for 5 years. I just got run over, then I knew when I woke up. Yeah, I sort of like life better that way. Can you imagine worrying about shit that's not going to happen for 10 years? Yeah, I'm going to be prepared for that car when it runs me over. No, you won't. The car's going to override your plan. I'm ready for it. No, you're not ready for it. It catches the system completely by surprise. And the system really basically takes off, tries to leave the body as much as possible, and hovers and just throws critiques down at you. You motherfucking asshole. It's like in the balcony throwing tomatoes. Motherfucker, but you told me to go back to that bar. No. So yeah. Well, let's go to the talks then, the questions.
Okay.
Yeah? All these people are old timers. Chuck has heard this. Chuck was served a subpoena a long time ago. He's just coming back to family court to check it out. Yeah, hopefully. It's not about you getting it. It never has been, never will be. Yeah? This is the smoothest transition because you're leaving nothing and going to nothing. Really. Yeah? Have you ever gone out, seriously, overdosed or something, and then you're brought back to life? They have nothing to do with each other. What's my fault? Yeah? Wherever I left, then when I came back, had nothing to do with that, in a sense. Yeah? It was just completely, I really truly feel like when you pass away, it'll be like nothing ever happened, really, because nothing ever really did happen. It's been a dreaming, and it doesn't mean not taking it seriously, but it's a dreaming. Let's call a spade for a spade, it's dreaming. It's an activity that we're the focus of. We truly are. Without us, there's no meaning to things. Like Buddhism tries to explain it by everything is inherently empty. It has no meaning. Nothing, the tree isn't telling me it's a tree, yeah? Yeah? So everything is appearing, and that appearance, I don't know, could be coinciding, or can be produced by, or can be a wall that the ball bounces back, but we give everything all the meaning it has. That's a pretty comprehensive statement in the Course in Miracles, Lesson 2. You and I give everything, which carrot, that just covered everything, all, another comprehensive statement, the meaning it has. Now, do you believe that's happening? Obviously not. Yeah, we believe a lot of people are fucking giving me meaning, you know? The boss is fucking with me, da 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 da, yeah? All that, but the basic dynamic is you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. That's another assumption that they put out. Course in Miracles, very big part of it is the dreaming aspect. It doesn't say you're in a dream, yeah? It doesn't say you're in someone else's dream. It puts you right at the center of it. You're the dreaming. You are the act of dreaming. Yeah. Didn't begin, not going to shut off. Or when it does shut off, there'll be never a beginning. Yeah, there was never a beginning when it shuts off. Yeah? So there's this. So, does that sound like our basic narrative in the head? No. And the same thing with Huang Po. Listen to your head. Your head, its whole narration is based on the assumption that that which is perceiving is what can be perceived. It's us, yes? When you feel like the seeing, right now I'm seeing that tree and shit. All right, the seeing gets claimed to imply a seer, yeah? That seer is pictured as not the seeing, it's pictured as the body, yeah? So the claiming of the seeing doesn't have an accurate description. The claiming of the seeing takes the seeing and implies its attribute to something else, you see? Now the body is what's seeing. And so Huang Po shows up and says, whatever can be perceived, aka the body, is not that which is perceiving. There you go. You know, take recess the rest of the day. Yeah? What's the head's doing all day, every day? Its whole narration is based on the opposite statement. Every doing, I'm the doer. Every feeling, even the ones I didn't even feel, I'm the feeler. I'm claiming the whole fucking batch. Every fucking thought's mine. I've been busy hearing all day. Just hearing so much. I'm proud of myself. Yeah. He says the exact opposite. Listen to your head. Listen to it. You want to see the negation of non-duality? That's the negation. Perfect, pure negation. Listen to the activity that's being relied on and seeing, and fundamentally that you're holding it as if it's solid and as if you're solid. Like a made-up floor holds these assumptions. This take away, they don't hold any water. You didn't tell me the process. All right, I'm in the state of non-seeing, and this is the process I go through every day to be the seer. All right, I'm in the watch. I'm not seeing them, even though I'm seeing the underside of my eyelids, but I'm not seeing. All right, and this is the process. I'm seeing, but I know I have a lot to do with it. Even though the complete experience of I have nothing to do with it, I'm just going to throw it in there. I have a lot to do with it. I'm the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taste, the touch. I won't say I'm the beater of the heart because that's too fucking absurd. You know what I mean? Or the pumper of the blood, or the digester of the burrito. Not because everyone, give me a break. You're not digesting that burrito. But a much more subtle activity, way more subtle, thinking, way more subtle than that, seeing, is easily claimed as I'm the seeing of it. Yes, I'm the seer. It's unbelievable. The emperor has no clothes; they're rags, and he keeps entering the court. I mean, all day. These fucking rags, you can see right through it. Just look for a second. I'm the seer of everything. Yeah, shit, yeah. Yeah, so, oh, but I feel like I am. That's not verifying squat. That's programming. You're programmed to feel like you're the doer. To the point, if you've had trauma, which I hope you haven't with people in uniform, which I've had, you may end up on a long trip to Australia, when the body's walking through customs, you may be feeling like you're going to get arrested by Interpol. even though you haven't done anything wrong in years, but the programming of that's expressing through the body is still in the contraction of getting arrested. Yes? If you keep reacting to that sense to verify that you're that's the bondage of self. The being awake isn't that you're free and, all the blind spots may still be there, the blind sides, the trauma and shit like that, but there'll be no one who has it. You see, that's the traveling lighter. The traveling lighter is not by the experience and the circumstance, it's by the owning. Yeah? The negation of the owning of shit allows you to travel through shit a lot lighter. Yes? Yes. So you want to open it?
Yeah, there's no hands. Anybody want to?
Oh, Michael. Oh, yeah, speak loud, Michael, so they can hear it.
You just hit on something. You talked about this character called Mike was a combat veteran and was in a battle, right? And people talk about when it came back, you got to handle that PTSD. You got to think about it. And it became this concept that I was going to get over someday. As a combat veteran, I'm going to get over this trauma in this body. And they called the other thing spiritual bypassing. And the spiritual bypassing has been much more helpful.
Yes.
To realize my true nature is, or at least have that concept that that's what I'm doing, as opposed to, because I went to anger management groups. I went, oh yeah, I'm gonna get this out of me. Me is going to get this anger out of me.
Yes.
And it's still when I go into groups now, non-dual groups, you haven't handled your trauma yet. It's spiritual bypassing is what you're doing. And I'm so much freer. And I mean, your message is as clear as a bell. And it's just really helpful to realize I'm not that.
Yes.
I'm not that veteran. It's like, let go of that. Don't focus on being a veteran in a battle. And I can recall the memories, and there was times when in the middle of battle, I was out here someplace watching this. And it was just, to recall it like that and to realize my true nature and who we really are is just so much easier. Anyway,
yeah.
So I just really appreciate being here.
Well, I love to see you, Mike, too.
Yeah.
And I'm all for spiritual bypass.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Because the idea, first of all, certain things don't want to be moved. And if you're hell-bent, if the mental state's hell-bent on moving it, you get caught in that little dynamic relation. Yeah? Acceptance is what floods into the situation with the recognition of I'm not bad. And basically then the trauma can have its time on the stage, but it's not the fucking huge elephant in the room. Because I've had a lot of trauma from getting run over, and also operations. When I was out cold, I noticed that I came out of those operations with a lot of baggage that wasn't there with people's being in the body and shit. Because I was like 17 hours, 14 hours, 12 hours, long times of being out of it. Yeah. And I have, man, if I go in just for a knee thing, it's got way more going on than a knee operation. It's just a lot of stuff. And I was trying to change things, and but all the changing of things was a way of reinforcing the stability of this idea, which is constantly changing. When I lost interest in Paul, that urban renewal project was canceled. Yes? Yes. And then the budget got totally moved to things that actually enrich this life and other people's lives instead of enslaving it, with wanting to get better.
Yeah.
I was just reading something, it was trippy. Dostoevsky, they have a lot of, we shared it the other day. I didn't go into great detail, but he was talking about on a YouTube thing, and they were talking about Dostoevsky, his time, there was all these groups and stuff trying to get better and all this shit in Russia, and you could see something in it. And it's the same thing now. The same thing now. There's almost like a demand that the Toyota should be a fucking Rolls Royce when it's a Toyota. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's have an acceptance of the Toyota is before, and then yeah, go for it if you want. But hey, just it's gonna drive like a Toyota. It may look like a Rolls, but it's gonna drive like a Toyota. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you know what I mean? So I found a great acceptance. And I didn't even recognize it because it had been so long since the last time I could really rely on it was with my grandmother growing up. That lady loved, you know, she was just something else in my experience. So lost interest in Paul as, you know, a fucking project of perfection, always going to be failed. And started to, you know, have a lot of attention and interest to what's happening. Not a future goal that I was trying to arrive at, but seeing that this is the only arrival right now. And it's worked too for me, you know. I lost, yeah. I find, you know, my own vested interest was a problem. Yeah. My wanting to get well was the biggest aspect of feeling sick. Really, it was huge. When I had trouble with my stomach, my center of the universe was my intestine. I was walking around trying to feel, you know, all day, just absorbed. And, you know, I took 9 bites out of that peanut butter. No! You know, it's just insane. It got pretty fucking crazy. And then I realized, you know, I could turn my life over to almost anybody in this room. Not every one of you, but most of you. And my life would look better with you running it than it would with me running it. That was a very valuable insight. Yeah, so when my head starts running the health department of the Paul Hedderman conglomerate, oh, fucking well, illness is going to abound. Yes, seriously. So, yeah. You don't know that you're moving until there's a stop. You know, when you really get paused and relieved, then a lot's revealed that you will never be revealed while you're moving towards it. You'll miss it while you're moving. Yeah, when there's a loss of interest, and there's a stopping, a lot gets revealed. Yeah? Like Zen, they would say, blue will be blue, red will be red, everything is clear. Yes, and it is. Yeah? But there's no one there noting it, yeah? Yeah? There's no one there that needs to note it. Yeah? The inherent nature is clarity. Yeah? Yeah. So, anyone else in there? Thank you, Michael. I'm happy. I remember, yeah. You know.
You remember me?
No, Mike. The second one.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you know, identity, yeah, can grow. The act of being identified obviously ends up as an identity. Seemingly, it doesn't really, but it says you are one already. And that identity of a soldier or of a drug addict or stuff like that is another. It's like a web that leads to another web that leads to another web. You know, it just keeps, you're still stuck, yes? Yeah, yeah. And you just tell the truth about that. That's how things go here. It doesn't, you lose that much interest in how the game ends because you're not the fucking boot of Monopoly. You're not the Eiffel Tower. That's where the relief comes from. It isn't like, I've got the winning combination. No, you may not. But you're not that interested in, you know, looking on how the numbers come up, you know? You're just fucking, all right, this is what's going on. Yeah, yeah. There's an interest, thank God it's not mine. And then you know, you start feeling driven by other pulses than that mental anxiety, you know, that it's like being like a cattle prod, you know? The mental state's prodding you. Yeah, it's crazy. To me, I see it as slavery, a lot of it. Yeah. Yep.
I think we have a question.
I have so many cameras, what's going on here?
Put the volume up. And
This is what I used to feel like when my head was crazy. Let me see, observing from here, here, proctology, how am I doing? What did she mean by saying that? I remember when I was a kid, I swear, I was 11 years old, walking through the hallway of school, 11 or 12, you know, when I was starting to feel a little more interested in girls and stuff. So this pretty girl said hello to me, and I went home and wondered what she meant by it for about 5 hours. I just went over every, but with a very small system of self-centeredness, it just drove me fucking crazy. You know, what did she mean? Does she like me? Does, you know, on and on. See, people will say they know obsession with self in obsession with self. They're thinking it's like a topic they're entertaining or studying while they're completely the representative of it. I did that too. We were doing a talk in North Carolina at a retreat. So people were there for the week, and then on the weekend they brought other teachers in or other inviters. I always wondered why they keep inviting me back. But, so I was giving a talk about spiritual addiction, and then I felt it was pretty clear, whatever. And so at the end, questions. So this guy gets up and says, can you give us an example? And I went, voila! You've been here fucking 7 days, you know what I mean? We always seem to extract ourselves from things as if we're an observer when we're not an observer. Yeah, we're the example. Yes? Yeah. Yeah. The head is tricky. It wants to slip you like a Mickey. It wants to slip you an interpretation that you'll lie on instead of living, really.
Is there a why to that, or is it just
No, I don't. No, I don't. The why would come from it.
Right.
Yeah, it's not like the why is coming is an echo from that. It furthers its fucking story. It's not another system questioning the other system. It's a questioning the other system. The system produces to further the system, mostly, I feel. I don't think why leads to good ends. I don't, in most cases. Yeah? Especially in this topic. Because then you can always say, why not? Yeah, really. Mm-hmm. And, but then the horse is out of the barn, you know, then we go off into mental candy, you know, blah, blah, blah. But basically, see, I mean, we used to do a talk all the time about the row of knots and, let's say, emotional relationship, one knot, financial concerns, whatever. And then there's the first knot, which is this idea, this act of being identified as self, yeah? So a lot of times that knot goes unnoticed and you're trying to untie the other knots as that knot. And if you would go there and see that if that's true or not, that knot has a thread that goes through all the other knots. So when this idea of you gets loosened, you'll see difference in all the other aspects of your life. Yes, you'll see it sooner or later. Yeah, while you're working on all the particular knots, they're going to constantly keep knotting up because this knot is in place. Yes, yeah. So this is the whole point of like recovery. Get down to the exact nature of the wrong. Well, in this, the exact nature of the wrong is an act of being identified as something, really. While you are, what you are isn't something that identifies as something else, it just is, yeah? You're just that. So all you need to do, it's not like find out what you're not and then head towards what you are. You find out what you're not, and then you'll find out what you are. You won't have to be going anywhere. Yeah, because you are what you've been looking for. Yeah, yeah. What's happening, Mike?
My computer's frozen except for Zoom, so I can't turn the volume back up.
I see. Well, see how reliable video is still going?
So I don't know if Alexi wants to type it in chat. Probably not.
Can they hear us?
I assume so.
I'll just make up a question.
Make up a question?
Yes.
For him?
Yeah, make a question. It's not him anyway. I didn't say that. Well, even if you said it, you didn't say that.
That's Groucho Marx.
I know.
And they're disappearing anyway, probably because the internet's bad and squares are disappearing.
Yeah. Oh, it's too bad.
Yeah, maybe it'll be better next week. We'll find out where the Wi-Fi is and stuff.
We've had it pretty good the first 2 weeks, and only one thing has changed.
Well, yours wasn't good to start with. Oh, that's true.
I'm only kidding. Well, good then. We'll just put out a blanket apology.
They're coming back.
What can we do?
Are they popping back?
Yeah, that's why I think maybe because the internet's bad. It's dropping videos.
Oh.
I don't know. I've never seen that before.
Well, maybe it'll motivate them to come to a live talk.
There you go, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. That's how we're gonna wean them off the Zoom. It's not gonna work. All right. Call up the Zen Bitch Lab Travel Agency. It's gonna cost you a lot of money, Nevada. Are they there at all?
Yeah, now they're back. And I can share about my vacation.
Oh, after the talk, yeah.
No, about this, because about meeting Jack G. So how
Oh, you met Jack G?
So it's kind of cool, like, as far
I'm gonna
as...
try to go on it again now.
Okay.
Let's see, hold on. You mind, and then we'll go eat, we'll have a coffee, yeah? Yeah, I like to have a coffee. See, you gonna come with us? Yeah, now that you missed the concert. Yeah, good. I'm just gonna say goodbye to these folks and, on the Zoom. I'd like to say goodbye to who's over there. It's hard to be, with Zen Bitch Lab. It can be very disappointing. The technology.